Turning right now, though, to something that a lot of you are talking about, a protester tackled by LA Rams linebacker Bobby Wagner after running onto the field Monday. Well, today, we found out that the protester has filed a police report. Well, the man ran out with a pink smoke bomb during the Rams and 49ers game. A security guard, you can see there in yellow, was trying to chase after him when the Rams players stepped in and took him down. TMZ Sports says the protester was trying to raise awareness for an animal rights group. When Wagner was asked about the police report, he said that he was more concerned about the security guard who was actually hurt during that chase, as you can see. We had a lot of questions about this, the police report, the potential charges, so we asked Paul Cambria to come back on the show. He's a local defense attorney and legal analyst. Paul, it's always great to be able to pick your brain about stuff like this, and we're hoping you can kind of help us understand here the protester filing this police report. It seems like he was the one doing something wrong here, so what do you make of that?
Well, the NFL takes these things very seriously, and it is clear to everyone that someone going on the field is committing the offense of trespassing. And when that happens, California law and New York law both allow the use of so-called reasonable force to stop someone from creating criminal mischief, from trespassing, or even to effect a citizen's arrest. So in other words, if somebody commits an offense in your presence, you as a citizen have the right to use reasonable force to arrest that person, if you will, turn them over to authorities. So the big question here will be, are they going to say that the physical force used was unreasonable? I think that's where this is going to go.
So let's say Paul Cambria is the local district attorney there in California, and you know California law well. You're licensed to practice there. I know you go out to the West Coast a lot. If you're the DA, do you bring charges here?
Never, okay. Because this is a clear commission of trespass, and there's a complete right to use reasonable physical force, and I think that under the circumstances it was reasonable. And also the players are sitting there, someone comes with something burning in their hands, even though it's a pink smoke bomb. What do they know what the potential could be there? So under those circumstances where the person created their own problem, that force would be, I think, seen as reasonable and a complete defense to any criminal offense.
It does seem like it also kind of sends a message to people. I mean, we put, 60, 70, 80,000 fans in 16 stadiums every single week. Maybe a message to people not to try something like this. Of course, so that's the criminal side of it, right? What about a civil lawsuit? You imagine Bobby Wagner has deep pockets. We know the NFL has deep pockets. Should we expect something like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think the NFL would be responsible for an individual player if somebody said their action was illegal or uncalled for, unreasonable. The NFL shouldn't be responsible for that. But you can expect a civil suit. And again, the issue is going to be, was the force reasonable? Because the law gives you the right to use this force when someone's committing a crime like that, as long as it's reasonable. Look at the circumstances and see whether or not it's reasonable under those circumstances.
Finally, Paul, and you touched on this at the beginning, New York law versus California law. Pretty similar in terms of something like this, because I'm thinking if Bills fans are watching and wonder, what if something like this happened at Highmark Stadium? It would be pretty much something similar?
Yeah, the California law really is based around the so-called citizen's arrest, where somebody commits an offense in your presence. New York has three parts to it. Justified when you're performing a citizen's arrest, but also to stop criminal mischief and also to stop trespass. And we have both of those here. We have all three, actually, but those two, criminal mischief and the trespass, are specific to New York. So there's three bases in New York to say that the force is reasonable.
Can't see that video enough, too. It is compelling. The guy certainly took a hit. There's no doubt about that. Paul Cambria is a local attorney, constitutional expert, and legal analyst here at 2 on Your Side. Paul, thanks for your time. Good to see you.
My pleasure.